What are the warning signs that you see of a group or a DSO that's trying to scale before it's structurally sound?
So the first thing I look at is, are we maxing out this space? Oftentimes they don't know the full potential of the space. Do you know how profitable you are? And if the answer is no, then I will ultimately educate and advise for them to take a pause for a second. Because when you over leverage yourself, then we start having hard conversations on selling practices to get us back to where you were thriving. When I figure out that we're maxed here, then I would say absolutely. Let's duplicate this. So once you have all your systems in place, you have your clarity, now it's time to duplicate.
Welcome back to The Doers, the podcast where we dive into the real stories of building, struggling, and thriving in dentistry. I'm your host, Dan Hall. In each episode, we explore the challenges, victories, and lessons learned from the leaders in the trenches running dental businesses. Today, I'm joined with Jordin McEntire, DEO executive coach,
Yes.
CEO of Entire Management, and a fractional COO.
Yes.
A powerhouse operator who cut her teeth in corporate dentistry before stepping out to help co-founders and executives scale smarter and intelligently in dentistry. Jordin brings the discipline of the boardroom at the heart of every true operator, whether it's fixing broken processes, creating culture across multiple locations, and helping leaders step out from the day-to-day. And she's the person that they're typically going to call when the wheels are coming off the bus.
Absolutely.
Jordin, welcome to the show. I mean, is that a pretty good synopsis of what you do?
Absolutely. You
Okay.
nailed it.
So let's go back, kind of rewind the clock here, go back to the beginning and how you went from corporate dentistry to consulting. Where did your journey begin in the dental space?
So believe it or not, my journey actually began in the 5th grade. I decided in the 5th grade that I wanted to be a dentist. I did research and uncovered that dentists had a pretty high suicide rate at the time. So I decided instead of being a dentist, I was going to be a dental assistant because I wanted to save their lives, literally. So became a dental assistant. Once I became a dental assistant, one of the doctors I worked with really pushed me to my full potential, had a lot of hard conversations with me, and then said, "You've got to do more. You can do more." So pushed me to continue my journey, go into business. Then I became an operator with a large DSO, managing multiple practices there. So I worked with Heartland Dental for a few years there, relocated to the West Coast and started with Pacific Dental, became an operator, ops manager, multi-site locations, regional manager. And before making a commitment to partner, I decided that I wanted to do something more and became a coach at the DEO.
Okay. So what was it that made you take that leap to become a coach at the DEO and a fractional CEO?
I decided at an event that I was at, while my teams were getting awards, it was amazing and I was so proud. In that very moment, I walked out and I looked at my mom and I was like, I can build something. I can do this. I can help multiple owners and businesses. It doesn't have to just be dentistry. I just want to help entrepreneurs and I'm going to do it. And she was like, oh, what does that mean? And so I decided to open up Entire Management. I opened up a management company and decided that I'm going to take this outside of dentistry and take what I've learned and the companies I've worked with and take those systems and replicate it into multi-sites and industries. So I met with Emmett, the very first call I had with him. His vision was huge. And so he allowed the freedom to say, okay, great, we can do coaching. Let's add on fractional services. Let's do it. Why not? So he brought me in at the DEO and it's been amazing, amazing. So now I can help dentistry thriving there. And then with Entire Management, I can help other businesses outside of dentistry. So huge win.
Yeah, that's awesome. Emmett's doing some great stuff over at the DEO
Yeah.
since he's come on board and taken the helm as CEO. I'm a little intrigued. So, Entire Management. So, these systems and processes you built to help some of these dental companies scale,
Correct.
you're taking out into other industries.
Absolutely. So my
Is there a
motto
big
is
difference? Like,
no, it's a rinse and repeat. So one system, one partner, entire success. That's the vision. So if I can just take a system into multiple sites, you can replicate it anywhere you go. So It's a lot of training, a lot of developing, but it's one system, one partner, entire success. That's the motto.
What's an industry you've taken it into and you've had that success where it's the same system and process?
So we've gone into med spas. I've started supporting financials. I have a company right now that I'm in the midst of kind of going into. All they do is a lot of sales. It's a lot of sales. So being able to take what I've learned in sales with dentistry and teaching the teams there. So we've built teams, how to identify a lead, how to qualify a lead, how to move through that process. So I've done a lot of coaching for startup companies. So companies that are saying, hey, I have this big vision, but I don't really know what to do with the vision. So creating from the beginning to the end, helping them get investors, helping them get partners, really structuring the business. Do you want it to be an LLC or an S Corp? So from the beginning of just I have an idea to structuring it and then hiring in the right partners to scale it. I do a lot of the assessment pieces, the training. But right now we're living in like the med spa world is kind of what I'm dancing into.
Okay.
And then I'm actually dipping and dabbing my toe into like dental assisting schools, things like that. That's where my heart started. So that's kind of the next adventure I'm on to.
Oh, exciting. So, what's the first thing that you look for when you step into a practice or a group as their fractional COO?
First thing I ask myself is right person, right seat. So I will get to know the team. I will connect with the team. I will sit down next to them. I will check in patients. I'll do whatever I need to do to just see the system that's been broken. And I quickly identify the talent that we have and if they're in the right seat. Oftentimes, we have really good talent, they're in the wrong role. So I'll either move them to different locations or move them to different roles, and then I'll elevate that person, or I identify it's an opportunity to elevate talent and shift around changes. So whether that's laying off or changing the office manager that you may have, that's the first thing I look for. Right person, right seat. And then the second thing I'll add on to that is, do we have clarity? Is there financial clarity? Is there clarity on their roles and expectations? Who's their person if they have a question to go to? So I'll start to identify clarity after I say right person, right seat.
Okay. So, what do most founders or the owner of these practices or DSO misunderstand about operations in your mind
In my
or
mind, as
perspective?
being an operator, I think founders are entrepreneurs and they have a lot of ideas, a lot of ideas. And so operators are very streamlined, meaning there's got to be a system for us to follow. And so it's hard for an operator to have that entrepreneur mindset. It's very few that can do that. So as an entrepreneur, I always say, you need to put on a different pair of glasses and you've got to try to see it through the operator's lenses, and they need processes, they need systems. And you as an entrepreneur, you have all these ideas. Let's document those ideas and let's organize those ideas, prioritize those ideas, and then maybe we don't execute on all the ideas. We execute on what's going to bring you the biggest return on investment, and we build a system out for that operator, because then you can see that, 2 times return on revenue growth that you're looking for. But when you're chasing all these ideas and just throwing out all these changes every week, there's no time for traction. So that's the first thing I tell founders is, your ideas are great. We can implement those. But which one is going to get the biggest bang for our buck? And let's build a system for that one first. Let's execute on that. And then we build on.
Okay. That is a gift. I mean, how do you balance it? You're an entrepreneur and an operator. What where are these special clarity glasses you have?
Believe it or not, my background plays a big role in that. My childhood, everything that I've been through in life, it really teed me up for this. I can very quickly walk in a room and identify what the vibe is in that room very quickly. So I can see what's on your mind before you say what's on your mind. And it's because the way I was raised. So I always had to, walking in the door, I was like, is this going to be a good day or bad day? And so I would have to vibe check every time I'd get home. And so I have a skill that I can quickly identify things so I can prioritize what I need to execute on. Whereas most operators, they're operators and they're like, tell me what to do and I'm going to do it and I'm running after it. But they don't have the ability to see what's on the owner's mind and have that conversation.
Well, you've really piqued my curiosity now. So when we first met, What was I putting out there? What was that vibe that you were thinking, oh gosh?
I see a hungry, motivated, like you strike me as someone that's like, hey, I see potential in this and I'm gonna double click and find out where this came from. Which is great because it sounds like you want others to be able to learn and duplicate that. So for me, you really came across as your passion is truly you just want to help. And so sharing is caring and let's put it out there. What helped you get here? Because your questions were all about, well, how'd you do that? Why is that? So it's like you're intrigued by finding out the how. And mine, I'm always intrigued by the who. Who's your person? Who does that for you? So you strike me as the how. Tell me how to do it, and I'm gonna run.
No, yeah, thanks. I mean, I'd love to just steal other people's
Yeah,
little ideas and go apply them and see if I can help the team
I
lift up the
love that.
team.
Yeah,
Actually, it was somebody else on the podcast that said that she's just a thief of ideas, but runs a great, really tight operation. And I mean, gosh, I think she had recommended a potato farmer on how to shoulder the off season in dentistry and how do they do it growing
yeah,
potatoes, and to take a little pearl of wisdom.
yeah. I call it little nuggets.
Yeah,
Take a nugget.
your nuggets.
Take your
Okay,
nugget.
I love it. So every group wants to scale, right? I talk to so many people. I go to events in the industry, but not everyone's ready.
Yeah.
What are the warning signs that you see of a group or a DSO that's trying to scale before it's structurally sound?
That is a great question, and it happens a lot. I think we have the idea in our mind that more is better. So I always say, have you maxed out the four walls? Your four wall EBITDA, what is it? Have you maxed that out? If you have opportunities we're not using, if there's days we're not using, one overhead is better than two overheads. So the first thing I look at is, are we maxing out this space? Oftentimes they don't know the full potential of the space. So being able to say that, financial clarity. What do you know about your business? How do you get your financials in a timely manner? By the 15th of the month, do you know how profitable you are? And that's so important. And if the answer is no, then I will ultimately educate and advise for them to take a pause for a second. Because when you over leverage yourself, then we start having hard conversations on selling practices to get us back to where you were thriving when we could have just maxed out what we were doing in the four walls. So I always start with evaluating the four walls. Once I evaluate, yeah, you're maxed here. Space is your limiting constraint. We got to get you more operatories. We have every line that's coming in here. If you're maxing on GP or specialty, whatever your niche is, when I figure out that we're maxed here, then I would say absolutely. Let's duplicate this. So once you have all your systems in place, you have your clarity, now it's time to duplicate and we'll go into another practice.
Okay. No, that's sound advice. So it's kind of like same store growth if we were to jump over to like a retail space, right? I mean,
Exactly.
Starbucks isn't opening another one until that one's been maxed
Exactly.
for that particular area.
And what I always say is stick to your niche. Like what I'm kind of doing is unique. Like, wait, you've been in dentistry for so long, and now you're gonna go into like med spas and hair salons and all. Business is business. So my niche is business operations. I love people. I love training and talent development. So I'm sticking to my niche. It's just I can go into multiple industries with my niche. Whereas a Starbucks, why would Starbucks go open a Taco Bell? Like their niche is Starbucks. They're not gonna go open up a Taco Bell. They're gonna open up more Starbucks. So same thing in dentistry when dentists try to like, oh, I'm going to acquire a pediatric practice. I'm going to acquire an endo and I'm going to acquire red flags start to go off. What's your niche? What are you good at? What can you coach on? What can you duplicate on? And so I will find your niche. And if they can stick to that, the return is huge. Versus trying to go open up Taco Bells and Starbucks.
No, that's great advice
Yeah.
to just stay in that lane
Yeah.
and just maximize what you're good at, which can
Yes.
be tough as humans sometimes.
It
We want to
is.
dabble, right?
Yeah.
Um, so now you're talking about all this change, running a system. How do you coach teams through that change, right? Especially when you're implementing a process that might be unfamiliar or even maybe threatening for some employees.
It goes back to the clarity statement. So when you build the relationships and they know that your intentions are pure, you can change. But change is hard. So the one thing that I'll say is there's 5 stages of change. So when you come into a practice or you come into a market, everyone is anticipating change. So you just got to address the elephant in the room. Yes, there is going to be changes, but the changes are to help you. So let's do an activity to find out what opportunities we have And together, let's start talking about what that change means for you. And so the team starts to get implemented and they feel like, oh, I'm a part of this change. These are my ideas. These are my struggles. These are my pains that Jordan's going to help me with. So it's a lot of psychology, but then I'll quickly identify that there it is. The moment I find out the system that's broken, I will, in the moment, tell the team, if we could change that one thing, what would that mean for you? And then I make it all about them. So every time I'm adding something, do you guys remember this pain point that you told me? This system is going to take that away. Here's what I need from you. Here's what that means for me. And so slowly I'll start adding in these systems for what's broken. And then if they're on board and they're excited, and it may not be easy, they're going to get angry and frustrated, and it's going to happen. But because I'm transparent about where we're going, I always say, this is where we've been, this is where we're at, and this is where we're going. And I want you on the journey. But at any time you decide you want to get off the bus, you're welcome to get off the bus.
I love the approach. I mean, and also too, I mean, if it's part of their idea, I mean, how can they fight
You
their
own
own
it.
data, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's something they said they need to fix, and
Yep.
uh, refreshing approach, right? Instead of
Yes.
just driving it from the top down and saying, you're going to go do
It
this.
does not work. It works for quick traction. If you're like, hey, I have this fire and I need the fire put out now. We're not going to make it to the next month. Okay. Sometimes you have to execute and you got to move fast. But if you're looking to scale and you're looking like, I want to maintain this business and something's wrong and I don't quite see what's wrong, then I go all the way to the bottom up and I find out what's broken from the core. And then if I have to start at the top to get you to survive, we'll start at the top and I'll build relationships so that when I do go to the bottom to figure out the root of the problem, I have relationships with everyone in the business. So, great point.
Yeah, healthy. So let's shift for 1 second because I think a lot of this is applicable. I want to talk a little bit about your coaching at the DEO. Um, what drew you to the organization? I know in the beginning you said all the great things Emmett's doing over there. Is there anything else that brought you to the DEO to help them out with some of this coaching and fractional work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes all the way back from the very beginning. I wanted to help dentists. I wanted to help save their lives. And then once I learned the business, now I wanted to save their business, but I don't want to own their business. I've been a part of the DSOs that own their business. I didn't want to be a part of that. So the DEO allows me to do just that without having to own the business. And so when I started seeing, they do good at marketing. I'll give them that. Like the moment you click on one, you see nothing but the DEO. So I saw a ton of content coming through, and an endodontist I worked with spoke very highly about the DEO. And so the very first, after I had my conversation with Emmett, like that was it. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Everything dental related is going to funnel through the DEO, and I can do entire management for everything outside of dentistry.
Okay. So what's one of the biggest transformations you've seen from a founder who fully brought that coaching process into their practice? Like your most successful case study, let's call it.
The biggest thing I would say is the doctors that have become so humbled by the process. When they come in, they don't quite understand. This is their baby, and they're so like they're confused, they're frustrated, they're confused, they're overwhelmed. So to see that to go from overwhelmed, confused, and frustrated to humble and appreciative, it's game changing. And I think that has been the biggest win for me is they go from this frustrated, everything's on fire, I don't understand what's happening, to new pair of lens. And they understand their operators, they understand their team members, they have the hard conversations that they need to have, they shift around team members they need to shift. That to me is a win because then you can start building with that foundation. And really, if I do it right, when I come into practices, it won't take long. I always tell docs 30 to 60 days and we're moving. So,
Okay. So I want to take a nugget from you because I have this phrase, right? Like I get into a lot of conversations, if around practice management software. So there's usually a bigger underlying issue. And
yep,
my phrase is I never want to call their baby ugly.
yep.
What do you do? How do you navigate past and show them that the baby isn't perfect?
I kind of lead them to it. I read a book. One of my partners I worked with, he recommended a book for me, and it was called Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. And it literally changed my life. It taught me to ask the right questions. And so by asking the right questions, they identify the problem before I ever have to tell them the problem. And because I've been in the field for so long, they know when they say something, if I rebuttal, they're like, ah, like I've been in the seat, I've been in your seat, I've been in it. So it really helps me. But I lead them to the problem for them to say, yeah, that might be a problem. And then, well, let's fix it. What's it going to take to fix it? Why haven't we fixed it? I guess I didn't realize it till just right now. And that's that moment where I'm like, we did it. We're here.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to check the book out, see if
Check
it
it
changes
out.
the life. What are some patterns that you see with dental founders as they evolve from owner to a true CEO?
Good question. Dental founders to CEO, there's lots of seats that they can play in. If I'm being super honest with you, the
Oh
chief
yeah,
clinical officer is oftentimes more important in the DSO world than the CEO, believe it or not, because the CEO's role is to think high level. And so it's really hard to turn your brain from high level to in the trenches, in the weeds, because your message is all about the organization. Well, you have a lot of team members who, no offense, they don't own that organization. So they don't have the same loyalty that you do. So I always tell the CEO, live as the CEO. Get you a chief clinical officer and get them to have those clinical conversations. Or if you don't have a clinical officer, you need to become that clinical officer and have an operator high level running the business and thinking for you through those lenses. You can't wear both lenses. You can't take them on and off. So that's been the biggest game changer for them. They don't think that way. They think, oh, I'm the CEO and I have to scale and I have all this responsibility, but you don't have to. Hire the right people, delegate those responsibilities, and stay in your lane. So that's the first thing I do is get them to stay in their lane.
Okay. So it's kind of like your advice rewinding back to a few minutes ago of focusing on what you're good at.
Yes,
I mean, it's going to go with your role as much as it is expanding your business.
exactly.
Just staying focused. Okay.
Yep.
I could see where that'd be tough. You can't have two lenses on, right? You'd
No.
probably go cross-eyed,
Yeah.
right? It's
I
like
always
your
say it's like
regular
you're driving
glasses.
drunk, you're driving blurry, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're blurring the lines, and we need to unblur those lines. Yeah.
So you've worked in high stakes, high growth settings. How do you personally stay grounded and avoid burnout?
That is a lovely question. Because I'm so passionate about what I do, I don't feel burnout is something that I'm afraid of feeling. The moment that I feel like, hey, I'm tired or this is happening, I stay grounded in what brought me here and where am I trying to go. So I love my family. I love spending time. Restaurants are my new thing. So I will quickly identify when I'm feeling like I'm tired. I need a break.
So when you
So
say restaurants, your new thing, like
yeah.
you're running them?
No, well, no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no,
okay,
no.
okay.
No, I like to actually go out and try new things.
Okay, gotcha.
And so trying food and new restaurants has recently been where I'll go and like turn my brain off.
Okay.
It's been nice. Or the gym. The gym's always a good
Nice.
spot. But I think to avoid burnout, you have to remind yourself of you got to be passionate about what it is you're doing. You can't be, I'm doing this because somebody told me to do this. It's got to be the person that told you to do it is yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I had somebody, ask me not too long ago that was a great kind of mentor and helped out. He'd always ask, are you still having fun?
Yep,
It's like, okay.
exactly.
Yeah, a little gut check. I am. It's a
Yeah.
good time. Good to have great conversations like we're having right now.
Yeah.
If there's one piece of advice you could give to your younger self, if you were to be able to rewind the clock, what would it be?
Honestly, if I was able to rewind the clock, believe it or not, and my mom's going to laugh when she hears this, she tried to get me to be an entrepreneur a very long time ago. Very long time ago. She tells the story all the time that I've always been highly favored. Walking out of my house and very young, I came back with our very first color TV in a little red wagon. And she's like, what in the world just happened? But I do. I am highly favored and I put myself in the right places.
Okay, well,
so.
I just got to pause for 1 second. Where did you get the TV in the wagon? You just like glossed over that.
I know. I was just walking through the neighborhood. And again, it goes back pretty rough childhood. We didn't have very much growing up. And so I'm just walking through the neighborhood and there's a neighbor and he's bringing out a TV. And I'm like, are you throwing that TV away? And he's like, yeah, we just got a new TV. And I was like, oh, and he's like, do you want it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. So I ran home and I grabbed a wagon and I came back down and he helped me put it in the wagon and I took it home. And I walk in, my mom's like, what is this? I'm like, it's TV. We had that TV for a very long time. So since that moment, she's like, girl, like you are highly favored. You need to And
And
I was
resourceful. That's
yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
And
I
not
used
afraid to ask,
no.
what are you doing with that TV?
So then I always told her, I like my corporate job. I like my corporate job. And I said that she used to talk to me and she's like, Jordin, I'm like, Mom, stop. I like my corporate job. I'm going to become a COO. I'm going to get there. Like, I like my corporate job. And till the day I was like, wait a minute, I can own my own corporate job. And when that mindset shifted, I wish I would have listened and put my ego aside that like I wanted to get to this climb the ladder.
Sure.
I wish I would have taken her advice a little sooner. Because I think I would have had that confidence to do it a lot younger.
Okay. So listen to Mom.
Listen to Mom.
Okay.
Listen to
So
Mom,
let's
guys.
go into some rapid fire stuff, just a little bit more about you, right? What's one thing every founder should stop doing today in your mind?
One thing, to stop trying to do everything.
Okay.
Yep.
Just stay in their lane.
Stay in your lane, get the right person on your team, and just stay in your lane.
Okay. So what's your resource for staying sharp?
I enjoy podcasts, believe it or not. And I would say, honestly, ask the right questions. Get yourself in rooms of individuals that are doing what you want to do, and they're at where you're trying to go. You got to put yourself in the right room with the right people.
Okay. Sound advice. Your favorite whiteboard moment you've had this year so far?
My favorite whiteboard moment that I've had so far. Honestly, it was probably at the DEO event that I had during my tribe breakouts. We had an activity to go through what's going well and then what's not going well. Mind you, this is a 2-hour breakout to get done. We didn't even get to the not going well part. So for me, it was so exciting to be writing all of this down. And then they're like, hey, Jordan, you got to go. And I'm like, we didn't even get to what's not going well. But for a doctor to spend 2 hours to talk about what's going well and be so thankful and excited and happy of their what they're doing, that doesn't happen.
No, that's great. I mean, that's
Yeah.
they're doing
It was amazing.
some right stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, it's been packed with wisdom, right? I think there's tons of nuggets that I've pulled from it. I'm sure other people have as well too. It seems like you've taken everything outside of those corporate walls and you're applying it in dentistry. It's like rocket fuel for some of these individuals running their businesses and to scale with purpose. Where can listeners connect with you if they want to jump on that bus and get you as a coach or a fractional COO to follow your insights?
Yeah. So remember, I'm living in two worlds, even though my advice is stay in your lane. My lane is leadership, business. So I'm still functioning there. But anything dental related, DEO, ask for Jordin. They call me JMac. So if you want to speak with me specifically, you're absolutely welcome to find me there. If you're like, well, I want a quicker contact for you, entiremanagement.org. That's the website for the company. I have a team there. You can email contact us at entiremanagement.org. That's the easiest way to contact me. The other piece is I am actually been doing a podcast. I will be dropping episodes. Ideally, it's every Wednesday, so stay tuned. But it's called Evolve Entirely. So you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, but I will be having podcasts there.
I'm going to check it out.
Absolutely.
My hat's off to you. Weekly is
I'm
an
committed.
aggressive goal.
I'm committed. And look, you have it recorded, so no going back now.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of The Doers. Big thank you to Jordin McEntire for sharing her stories and her strategies. And if you're a founder looking to scale your business, get your time back, and build something sustainable, you found the blueprint. Until next
Absolutely.
time, get out there and do the work. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.